Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2, Semester 2 for Week 7, Monday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. All right, so one of the things I asked you guys is like, what do you guys do to give back to the community? What do you guys do to volunteer? And so I saw this from Fernley High School. These kids got their CPA license to do taxes through a program. And so they're helping like the veterans and also the seniors in Fernley do their taxes because it is tax season. Raise your hand. How many guys have to do your taxes this year because you have a job? Anybody here have to do taxes? Nobody has a job in this class? Okay, well, that's fine. I was like, last period, my calculus kids, I had about like half of them that had a job and had to do taxes. Anyway, I'm gonna share this story with you guys. Anyways, I thought that was really nice that at least they're doing something to help their community. You know, with older people, taxes, they probably don't really understand, you know, like Wi-Fi and how to submit it online. So I thought that was a good way of doing something for your community and also to put it on your college application. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and move on. So this is week 7. We're going to continue our topic of adding and multiplying rational functions. So last time I saw you guys on Friday, we kind of briefly started with common denominators. Today, we're going to do the whole thing. And I'm also going to go ahead and assign your math Excel for this week. So just stand with me for just a second. So if you're like, I don't know how to get to math Excel, you just type in math Excel, Washoe County School District, log in, and then you get to Algebra 2. From Algebra 2, which I now got locked out, but that's okay. I'll just go ahead and type back in again. Once you log in, you go to Algebra 2, and so I have to sign in right here, which I am, and go to Algebra 2. Don't go to the Envision, go to the Math Excel for school. Once you're in there, you'll be able to see your classes specifically for this class. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and assign you guys the assignment. So unassign, I have adding and subtracting rational expressions. So I'm gonna go to edit. And then I'm just gonna type in week 7 homework, adding, subtracting rational expressions, and then just Dr. Natalia Callahan. And this is for specifically Algebra 2, Semester 2. Next. And remember your assignment, it's only 9 questions this time around. And let me see here. I usually like to have 10 questions, but you know what? I'm okay with having 9. So you only have 9 questions this week, and that's totally fine. So I'm gonna go to next, and it is due on the 20th. So it's due every Sunday by 11 p.m. Okay. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and allow you guys to do this. You guys get 3 tries or 3 attempts on your homework and assign. Now your week 6 homework assignment was already due for this week. And so if you have not completed by Sunday by 11 p.m., then what's going to end up happening is that you're going to get locked out of it. But I'm going to go ahead and open this for you guys. And I want this one to go all the way to the end. Let's see, 26. Let's get back to the 13th. There we go. So that way it's in order. And I'm going to go ahead and reopen this for week 6, the quiz and also the homework. So at this point, you can still access it, but it is going to, however, going to be late. So 6/2/2022. And also, does everybody have their notes out ready to go? If you don't have your notes, please take your notes out and put your cell phone away. And let's go ahead and take a look at this one, edit for your quiz. 6/2/2022. Okay, so all your assignments from week 6 is now reopened again. If you did not complete it, there is a penalty. It's 10 to 40%, depending on how late it's going to be. But your week 7 homework assignment is already open for you guys for this week. It's only 9 questions, you guys. And just keep in mind that in this class, I don't give you guys any tasks. Your assessment is on Math Excel every Wednesday. So make sure you complete that. And I also update your grades every Wednesday. So if you're not happy with your grade because it's already updated, you need to make sure you come see me after school so we can work out of a plan of some sort. So that way you guys know how to go about raising your grade. And if you're like, I don't have access to Infinite Campus, where else can I find my grades? You can go to your Sorry, where are you right here? What's the last name? Hello, Mom? And just go to Algebra 2. And once you're in Algebra 2, this is your grade breakdown. Your class average is a 67%. So it's a little bit lower than I would prefer to have, but I'm like, you know, it is what it is. So take a look at your student ID and where you guys fall into. This is from last Wednesday. I have not graded everything that was due yesterday for week 7, but I'll have that done on Wednesday. And so I'm just going to scroll this up a little bit more so you guys can see where you guys are at. And I'll scroll all the way up over here. So for those of you guys who are on the cusp of a D and F, my suggestion is you need to have at least a 75%. 75% is your safety grade. Why? Because your final, which is a common district final, it's the same final you guys took last year in geometry and also freshman year in Algebra 1. It's a hard freaking test. It's not easy. You know, that's 15% of your grade. So if you have a 75% and you bomb that test, what's 75 minus 15? 60, right? You could still pass with a 60%, which is a D. If you have less than a 75% and you end up bombing that test, then you go below a 60 and then it's no longer passing. You know what I mean? And so just keep that in mind, you guys. And for those of you guys who are just simply sitting there with your cell phones out, I mean, like, if you're not going to do the Math Excel homework, you're not going to do the quiz, you cannot just show up and then, you know, not do anything either. If you show up, I really like seeing your pretty faces. I'll give you 55%, but 55% is not passing. You literally need to do the work to get above a 60. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we're navigating through this. Another thing is if you've been absent excessively or you've missed the warm-up log, your warm-up log is due on week 9 Friday. This is week 7 Monday, so you have about 2 more weeks. So take a look at your warm-up log in the pink paper. If you have a bunch of boxes that's completely empty, and as I'm looking around here, like some of you guys don't even have your warm-up log out, you know? So you gotta kind of ask yourself, like, what is the point of me being here? To just simply sit here and then fail the class? Like, you know, you guys are juniors, you know what you need to do. If you've been absent and you have a bunch of stuff that's just completely empty, go to the YouTube channel for Algebra 2. You guys have this link. And it's gonna take you over here to the YouTube channel. You have 26 videos here. You have everything from week 1 all the way down to week 6 Friday, which was last Friday. That's already video recorded. So everything that we go over in class is on these videos. So if you've been absent, or if one day you just decided to take a nap, and I get it, we all have those days sometimes, but then you need to be responsible and make sure you watch the videos and make sure you have this part filled out, okay? All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on. Today is Monday. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting rational expressions. This is where we are. After adding and subtracting, we're going to go on to solving rational expressions. That'll take us until the end of the week. Next Monday, you guys, there's no school. It's President's Day, so yay for that. And then after this, after next week, which is going to be week 8, because this is week 7, your packet is due. So if you have nothing on your packet, you're going to get a 0 on it, you know, because you're going to be turning that in. I give you guys a brand new packet. So make sure that between now and the weekend, you have that filled out. You just need to watch the video and just fill everything out since you've been absent or if you've been tardy. Okay. So just, you know, be responsible, obviously. Okay. So what did we do last class? If you were not here last class, we went over the envelopes. I asked you guys to pick 10, 20, 30, or 40 points, depending on which envelope you picked. Some of the questions are more harder than others. You guys turned in the colored paper, so I have that, and I'll be grading that on Wednesday, so your grades will be updated. And these were the cards that we went over. And then I had you guys start off with common denominators with this piece of paper. Does anybody need a copy of this for today? So if you are not here on Friday, that's the paper that you need. And so if you were absent and you need that piece of paper, you are welcome to come up and go for it. Okay, so today, the only thing that you guys need is we're going to do a decimals activity after this, just as a review for vertical, horizontal asymptote. And you just need my handout, the same from last week, week 6 Friday. It's the same one. We're going to finish it. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I will take that. I think we did numbers 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct? Do we do 1, 2, and 3? Do we do 4, 5, and 6? Okay, so let's start off at 4, 5, and 6. So looking at this right here for number 4, your job is to find the common denominator, or the LCD, the lowest common denominator, okay? And if you look at these two, you have 7x minus 2, x plus 6. Your lowest common denominator is going to be 7x minus 2 times x plus 6. That's what you want the denominator to be at. So you got to look at the first one, which is right here in yellow, and you're like, what is that one missing? That one has 7x minus 2, but it doesn't have the x plus 6. So what that means is I have to multiply x plus 6 top and bottom to that first fraction. And then I look at the second fraction. Look at the denominator. I have the x plus 6, but what is it missing? It looks like it's missing that 7x minus 2. So I will have to multiply the second fraction by 7x minus 2, top and bottom. And that's it. That's how you find the lowest common denominator. We're not adding or subtracting yet. Right now, I'm just having you guys practice finding them. Okay, so for number 5, that one is a little bit hidden because if you look at the second fraction, right here in green, in the denominator, you could probably like take out some numbers. Between the 4 and the 12, I could take out a 4. Between the x and the x squared, I could take out the x, which means I have an x minus 3 going back inside. And then for your first fraction in yellow, you have a 6x squared, which I can actually break that down to a 6x times x. So then what is going to be my lowest common denominator, my LCD, for 6x squared and 4x squared minus 12x? I would say that if I look at the numbers between 6 and 4, what is a common number that 6 and 4 can both divide into? I will probably say 24, because 6 divided into 24 and 4 divided into 24. Do you guys agree with that? And then I have an x squared right here. So I have to put the x squared because you have to include the biggest power, okay? And then also it's tagging along is an x minus 3 in parentheses. So that's my lowest common denominator. And I asked myself, okay, with my yellow fraction, what do I need to multiply to get to that lowest common denominator? I know I am missing a 4 because 6 times 4 is 24. I'm not missing the x squared because I already have that, but I'm also missing the x minus 3. So what I'm going to have to do is multiply 4 times x minus 3 top and bottom to get to the lowest common denominator, okay, for the first fraction. With my second fraction, I'm like, okay, so how do I get to a 24? Well, 4 times 6 isn't giving me the 24. I only have one x. I need an x squared. So I'm going to include another x with a 6, so 6x. And I already have the x minus 3, so I don't need to worry about that. So the only thing I need to multiply top and bottom is just 6x. This is why adding and subtracting rational is kind of hard, is that you literally have to match them and you have to know algebra and multiplication to make sure everything match, okay? And if you're like, okay, I kind of understood this, that's really good because this is not easy stuff, you guys. I've taught college before math and there are college students like freshman, sophomore year that doesn't understand this concept. It's a really hard concept. So if you're getting it, I mean, like, good for you because this is not easy. All right, so number 6. For number 6, I have a 3x to the third power. That's my first fraction right here in yellow. And then my second fraction, I have 3x. Oh, crap, I can't really see that. I think it's 3x to the third, I think. Yeah, 3x to the third and then 3x squared. We'll just assume that's what it is. With this one, I could take out a 3, an x squared, and then what goes back inside is a 2x plus 1 from that fraction. All right, so let's find your lowest common denominator. So between the yellow fraction and the green fraction, you're looking at the bottom, okay? What do they both have? You have to include the biggest number, obviously, and the biggest number on the outside is a 3, so I'm gonna have a 3. What's your biggest power with x? I see an x cubed, so you have to include the biggest power as well. And then in the parenthesis, a 2x plus 1. So that is your lowest common denominator. Now, once I have that, I get to ask myself, okay, what do I need to multiply to my first yellow fraction to get that? Well, if you look at your denominator here, I'm missing just the 2x plus 1. So I multiply the 2x plus 1 top and bottom. If I look at my green fraction, what am I missing in comparison to my lowest common denominator? I got the 3, so that's great. I got the 2x plus 1, that's great. But I only have x squared. So what am I missing here? I'm missing one more x. So I need to multiply x top and bottom. And that's it, you guys. That's how you find your lowest common denominator. But we're going to go ahead and take that and we're going to now add it to common denominator, which is going to be, a little bit more difficult because right now all we did was just identify the lowest common denominator. Okay, so let's take a look at number 7, number 8. Okay. If you have questions that look like this, you might have to do a little bit more work because now you have to factor it. So for number 7, I want to put these into 2 parentheses, and you have your first fraction, which is right there in yellow, and then you have your second fraction, which is right here in green. For my first fraction, what times what gives me a negative 10, but when I add it together, give me a negative 3. I don't know about you, but I think 5 and 2 will work because the difference is 3. But what's tricky is you got to figure out where does my negative sign go to. If my middle number is a negative, the bigger number has to be a negative and the smaller number is a positive. Then for my x squared minus 4, that one is a special factorization. That's the one where you do the square root of 4, which gives you a 2. But then you got to put a plus and a minus because there's no middle number, because positive 2 minus 2 cancels each other out. Now that I factor the denominator, what is my lowest common denominator? And remember, you got to include everything. Okay, so in the first fraction, I have x minus 5, x plus 2. Now, look in your second fraction in the denominator. What else is missing? I have an x plus 2, so check that. I don't need to include that again. But do I have an x minus 2? Nope. So I have to move the x minus 2 down here. And this is my lowest common denominator right there. So now that I have my lowest common denominator, I got to ask myself, all right, so what is my first fraction in yellow missing? It has the x minus 5, it has the x minus 2 or x plus 2, but it does not have the x minus 2. So what I need to multiply in my first fraction is an x minus 2 top and bottom to complete that, okay? Now let's take a look at my green fraction. In my green fraction, I have an x minus 2, so that's an x minus 2 right there. X plus 2, x plus 2. What am I missing? X minus 5. So then for my second fraction, I need to multiply by an x minus 5 top and bottom. All right, so then let's take a look at example 8, you guys. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing, and we're gonna go ahead and factor the denominator. I'm gonna give you guys a minute just to factor the denominator on your own. All right, so for example 8, in the denominator, you could factor an x minus 4, or no, not 4, x minus 6, x plus 2, because that will give me a negative 4, and when I multiply it, give me a negative 12. And then for the second fraction, what times what gives me a negative 2, but when I add it together, it gives me a positive 1. Because the middle number is a positive 1, your bigger number here has to be positive, and your smaller number is going to be negative. So what is your lowest common denominator? Let's take a look at this. I need an x minus 6. So here's my x minus 6. I need an x plus 2, x plus 2. I have another x plus 2. Well, guess what? I already have a 1. Thank you. So I don't need to go ahead and get another one, but I don't have an x minus 1. So I'm going to include the x minus 1. So essentially, you're just including everything, but not repeating it twice. All right, so then let's take a look at my first fraction. With my first fraction, what do I not have that's in the LCD? I have an x minus 6, x minus 6, x plus 2, x plus 2. What do I have? I don't have an x minus 1. So then you need to go ahead and multiply x minus 1, top and bottom. Now let's take a look at the second fraction right here in blue, okay? Looking at my second fraction, x plus 2, got that. X minus 1, got that. What am I missing? X minus 6. So you're going to multiply this by x minus 6, top and bottom. Okay, so you're like, that's great that we're multiplying this, but what's my answer? This is just kind of building you up to the actual problem. So now that we practice finding the lowest common denominator, we are now ready to actually do a question. I'm going to skip number 9 and 10, and let's just jump right in and try one of the examples on the right side. Okay, so first thing I want you guys to do on the right side is go ahead and just read this part right here, so that way you know how to go about doing it. It's 3 different steps. I know it looks easy, like, oh, just 3 different steps. And it's not easy. This is a hard concept, you guys. So the fact, if you're following along, you're like, oh, I kind of get it. That's really awesome, because if you're planning on going to college and you want to do something that's either in business, science, or math related, or even nursing and some healthcare, you're going to have to at least take math 120 or above. The math you're taking right now is 096 level. So it's good that you know how to do this, because when you guys go to college, you have to either take the SAT, ACT, or the AccuPlacer test to get placed into math 126 or 120. That's just college level math. And it doesn't even matter if you're going to be a math major or not a math major, you still have to at least get to a college level math. And here's the thing. If you don't know how to do this and you don't remember any of your math skills, so when you take one of these 3 tests, it is very possible that you get placed into an Algebra 1 class or an Algebra 2 class again, and then you just waste your money and time taking those classes until you guys get into that 120 level. I know, you're like, what? That's not okay. I'm dead serious. I've taught at UNR, I've taught at TMCC before. So the lowest level that we offer there at TMCC and UNR is Math 096 or 93. Then you have 095, then 096, and then you have 120 and 126. This is a level that you want to get into because it's college level. It's over 100 level, right? Right now, you guys are like right here in between 095 and 096. Okay, but it is very possible that if you don't do well on these 3 tests, you might have to go back to 093, which is like Algebra 1. Okay, and in which case you'll literally have to take 1, 2, 3 different math classes in college before you get to the college level classes. So if you're planning on going to college, you know, whether it's nursing or whatever, make sure you still know how to do math and you don't forget it, because senior year, which is next year for most of you guys, SATs, ACT, AccuPlacer. You have to go ahead and place into a math class. Same thing with English. If you don't get into English 101, which is an English level class for college level, you might go into 090, which is a remedial class. It's not college level, but you have to take it before you get into English 101. So you're going to be wasting your money and an entire semester to do it, you know, in college. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. For question number 1, do you have common denominators? Yes, you do. That one's an easy one because everything is already there, right? So your common denominator is just 8. So then what do you do on top? You just simply add them. X plus x is a 2x. -1 minus 5 is a -6. I could simplify this because I could take out a 2 like that. And then what is 2 divided by 8? I can reduce it down to a 1/4 if I divide 2 on top and bottom. So my answer is just x minus 4 over 4. Okay, let's take a look at example 2. For example 2, you still have the common denominator of 3, which is awesome. So then my common denominator is a 3. So then what I do is I'm going to go ahead and combine the top. It is minus, okay? So because it is a minus sign right there, everything in the second parenthesis becomes opposite. So that's a negative 3x, positive 7. So you just change the sign. If it's positive, no change. Okay, so then let's go ahead and combine them. X squared is just x squared. There's nothing to combine. But I do have a 9x minus 3x. I can combine those together. 9 minus 3 gives me a 6x. I can also take the negative 2 plus 7 because they're the same terms, which gives me a 5. And if you feel compelled to like simplify that a little bit further, you can do an x plus 2, x plus 3 over 3, and that's your answer. All right, you're thinking like, okay, that's not that difficult. You're right, it's not difficult because you have common denominators. Like when we don't have common denominators, then it gets a little bit more complicated. Like, well, number 3 and number 4 are still fairly simple. But then if you go on to like number 5, 6, and 7, then it gets more complicated. But I'm going to reserve that for tomorrow because today I want you guys, I mean, it's Valentine's Day. So let's go ahead and I'm going to have you guys go on to Desmos and earn your points that way. So make sure you have an iPad. If you don't have an iPad, come up and grab one, please. Or if you have your cell phone, that works too. So let me go to Desmos. So your Desmos assignment is going to look something like this, okay? And it's Introduction to Rational Function Explorations. You're going to talk about a little bit of review of vertical asymptote and horizontal asymptote. There are 18 of you guys here, so make sure you guys do that. And so let me open this up here. Hold on a second, let's see. And what I'm going to do, let's see, how do I want to do this? Okay, so I have already assigned you guys to this. Let me see if I can maybe student link. Let me copy that. And I'm going to put it into a QR code so it's a little bit easier for you guys to scan. For those of you guys who already been to Desmo before, just go to desmos.com and you will be able to access it because you've already been added to the class. Okay, there's my QR code. And so take your camera feature. And I'm just gonna paste it right here for you guys. Copy paste. And then you guys can go ahead and just add it from there. So with your cell phones, go ahead and do that. You do, however, need to type in your name so that way I know who you are so we could check you guys off to ensure that you have the points for it. And as you're navigating through the questions, make sure you save your answers so that way I can see what you have.